Let us pray. Almighty and ever-living God, source of all wisdom and understanding, be present with those who take counsel here at St. Catherine's for the renewal and mission of your church. Teach us in all things to seek first your honor and glory. Guide us to perceive what is right, and grant us both the courage to pursue it and the grace to accomplish it. Through Jesus Christ our Lord. Amen. Okay, so today we are holding our parish meeting 1 week late. So thank you all for your understanding last week in braving that terrible winter storm and all the ice that came with it. Yes, it didn't ice as much, but we're thankful for that. But I do think it was a good call for the safety, especially trying to get over. If we had ice, trying to get over that levee would have been impossible. So I still feel like we made the good call. But that means we just pushed back our parish meeting. But that also means we're all here for blood. So if you haven't donated blood, after we're done here, you can go run out there and donate blood. Okay, I'm going to go over the agenda real quick. So first, we're going to start off with our vestry vote and our delegate vote, and I'll explain how that's going to work. Then you're going to hear from different ministries. We're going to hear from youth. I'm going to present the youth report. Kay is out of town, so she won't be able to. She sent it to me, as well as I will present children's. Megan is also out of town. She's at a Girl Scout trip with all of our Girl Scouts, hence why we don't have any of the young girls here at church today. They're all up in Conroe for a Girl Scout trip. So I will present that. We'll hear from Ian about manna bags and gala. Social justice and newcomers from Joe. And then DOK, Myra will present on DOK. Aaron, we'll then turn it over to Aaron, who will present the junior warden report. He's in the back. And he will talk about the stuff that we need to get done around the church and the stuff we've done around the church. And then we'll turn it over to Tom on behalf of Jim Duncan, who's also out of town. That winter storm really messed us up. But Tom is going to present the finance report from last year, as well as the budget for this upcoming year. And then this year, instead of me kicking us off, I'm going to conclude us with the rector's report. And I'll talk a little bit about the year we just had and some hopes and vision for this upcoming year. And then we'll close in prayer and then go home or go donate blood. So if you have any questions throughout this meeting, please do feel free to raise your hands, ask those questions. We will try our best to answer as best as we can, or we may have to defer to when Jim gets back if it's about finance report and Tom doesn't have that information. But I think you have some experience in this.
I keep hearing this little voice in the back of my head saying, "You're back."
Yeah. Okay, so let's start off with our vestry vote. So we do have an uncontested slate of nominees. So that means we don't necessarily have to do balloting. What that means is we will vote by acclamation. Once again, I want to share who those are that are running for vestry. So we have two people running for two unfilled 2-year terms. Daniel Luce, who joined us a few years ago, he moved up to Conroe. Though he is sad, he moved away. He said he's still going to try to come. The 10:30 service, he's not going to be here for the 8. But that being said, that's too far of a drive to serve on vestry. So he asked if he could step down, and we said so, as well as Michael Davis, who passed away this past fall. And so for those 2 terms is Judith Trance. Judith, you mind just kind of raising your hand and waving? Judith has been with us, 3-4 years. So you've been with us 3-4 years. She has both her and her husband Larry have 2 young people who serve as acolytes and very active in our youth. So thank you for agreeing to serve. We also have Stanza Denson, who she had prior engagement. She was here at church, but she already had prior plans. Again, this winter storm messed us up. So she apologizes for not being here today, but she is excited to serve. She comes from All Saints Stafford, and she's been with us for a little over a year, and she just got confirmed, and we're excited to have her join us for that. So those are our 2-year terms. We also have our full terms that we normally have to vote for. So those full terms are Heather Jacquin. Heather her and her family have jumped around. They've been coming for almost 2 years. This Easter, she has a young child, Joy, who just turned 5. Heather also she sings in our choir and leads our Joyful Noise. I'll talk about that in a little bit. Thank you, Heather, for that. We have Kathy Barrett. Is Kathy here. She may still be back in. She was working with the blood drive people. She goes to 8:30. She's also been attending for a couple of years now and is active in various ways throughout the church. And then we have Tom Staten, who is going to be serving. Tom is, well, what can we'll have to give you a list of Tom's credentials. Tom did serve as our treasurer for years, so that's why. So those of you who came here after Tom stepped down from treasurer, that's exactly what he's talking about. 'Cause for years, 18 years? 17 years he was up here giving the, yeah, it seemed like you. Seemed like that for me too. No, I'm just kidding. So those are our 5 vestry nominees. We also need to elect 4 diocesan council reps. These are those who go to council. This year will be in Woodlands at the end of the month, the last weekend of the month, and they vote on behalf of you all for constitution amendments or changes, canon changes, as well as we vote for the budget for the whole diocese. So you think our budget's crazy, wait till you hear the diocese budget. And so those are Joe Butterfield, right there, Larry Tran, Tom Staten again, and Kathy Barrett. Kathy and Tom served last year, and this is Larry's first time, and this is your first time as well, Joe. So their first time. I look forward to working with y'all. Council will be at Woodlands again, the 27th and 28th. Please do hold all of us in prayer as we represent this church and the diocese at council. So this is our slate. We'll vote by different, so we'll vote first on the 2-year terms, and then we'll vote for the 3-year terms, then we'll vote for the delegates. However, we don't have to ballot because it's uncontested, so we can vote by acclamation, that being a simple yay or nay for the slate that is before you. I need a motion. Okay, Skip, you make, Motion. Skip made a motion to vote by acclamation. Steve and Joe seconded. All in favor indicate by saying aye. Aye. Opposed? Okay, so we can now vote on, and this will cover all of the slates. Yes. Skip motion, and then Steve seconded. Okay. Steve and Joe, they both put their hands up at the, okay. Okay, so let's vote on the 2-year term. All in favor of electing Judith and Stanza to the 2-year term indicate by saying aye. Aye. Opposed? Congratulations, Judith and Stanza. Thank you very much. Okay, let's move on to our full term. All in favor of voting for Heather, Kathy, and Tom to serve for 3 full years indicate by saying aye. Aye. Opposed? Okay, thank you very much for that. You are welcome to the vestry. We're excited to have y'all. Yes, let's give those. And now I want to recognize those who are rolling off the vestry. So first off, we start with Steve. Steve, he served as our senior warden for 2 years, which is something we try not to do. But since I went on sabbatical, we felt this is probably the best option. And it was, as some of you know, we'll hear about it in the junior warden report. It was a crazy month with the fire inspection. So Steve, I want to thank you so much for the service you gave for the 3 years as well as 2 years as senior warden. You got us in the vestry in a good place. We also, Myra, who also filled in for someone who moved, and she served for almost 3 years, but Myra is stepping down. Myra, I really enjoyed having you on vestry, and Myra's going to focus on DOK now, so I'm sure she's excited to step down and not have to worry about it. So Myra, thank you very much for... And then we had one more. Kathy Barrett actually served for the last few months of Kathy Diaz's term, who also moved. We got a lot of people moving away, but we also got a lot of people moving here, but she also moved. So Kathy filled in the last couple months. So she's not rolling off. She's just going to take over on a full term. So thank you all for your service to the vestry. Take some time. I won't ask you to run again for at least a couple of years, but be ready. Okay, let's go ahead and vote for the delegates. All in favor of Joe, Tom, Larry, and Kathy to serve as our council reps indicate by saying aye. Aye. Opposed? That carries. We have our slate of vestries and council members. Once again, let's give them all a round of applause and give them your thanks for serving. It's, my dad once told me when I got first elected vestry, all Episcopalians should serve on vestry at least once. Notice I said at least once. Some like to do it. Some it's not, I hold that to be true. All Episcopalians should serve on the vestry at least once. It's a great way to see how the church works, how the church operates, and to be part of this church. And for some, that is it. Luckily, I only had to serve once because I went to become priest after, I actually left my term on vestry to become a priest and go to seminary. So I have served with y'all. So thank y'all very much. Now I'm going to turn it over to our ministry reports. We're going to kick it off with youth, so you're going to have to listen to me a little bit longer. And that text just left, so let me pull up this. Sorry about that. Okay, so this again is from Kay. She sent this over. Over the last year, we have been working through the first 7 books of the Bible. From Genesis to Joshua, our students learned about the patriarchs and their stories of salvation. This year, we're focusing on the prophets, starting with the minor prophets. Our goal is to tell stories that relate to practical lessons. Last week, we went over Daniel. Actually, this was 2 weeks ago. They went over Daniel and focused on faithfulness under persecution. We want to empower students to apply the Bible to their lives and struggles. She also added she's so grateful to the DOK, the Daughters of the King, for hosting events for our youth and for giving us opportunities to serve our community. She also wants to thank St. Catherine's community for making our group possible. So I bet you're asking, how can we help our youth? Well, luckily for you, she gave us some ways. One way is to sign up for food. So in the past, we only ordered pizza for these young people. I love pizza, but after a while, pizza gets old. And I heard from my own youth that pizza was getting old. So when Kay got on, she really wanted, and I know that's kind of shocking to hear. But it did. It got a little old. And plus, some of our, we have some youth that pizza doesn't work for them. So she came on and said, well, why don't we have home-cooked meals? So we started asking the community to bring home-cooked meals. And y'all have answered greatly and quickly for that. But that's one way, if you haven't, one way we can support the youth is to bring a home-cooked meal so they can enjoy a home-cooked meal. Also, it saves the church a little bit of money because pizza every week or Chick-fil-A every week adds up. So this is a great way to save money. But it's also a way that we can help lift up our youth and nourish them not only spiritually, but also physically and with food. So please do consider that if you want. Also, she is looking for volunteers to help join us for lesson. As you know, you may not know actually, I don't know if you know. Safeguarding policy requires 2 adults to be present with the youth, at least one safeguarded. Kay is safeguarded. She's an adult. She can be there, but she needs a second. Usually she has friends of hers who come and help, as well as some adults here that help. But if you'd like to support our youth, and all you have to do is just be there as a second person, and you get to see how great our youth are. We have a great youth group. These young people, they're not kids, they're young people. These young people are awesome. And this is a great way that we can see what's going on with our youth and see the impact this church is making on their spiritual lives. So that's one way we can get involved. Also, provide a community service project for our students to participate during our group. If you have a community project or you know of something in the neighborhood or community or even throughout Fort Bend that can use help, let Kay know, and because we're looking for ways we can get our youth involved in giving and outreach. Learning the Bible is great. We want to learn the Bible. Being together in fellowship is great. But also, these young people in this generation giving to the community and serving the community is important for a lot of our young people. And our youth's no different. They want to serve the community around them. And so if you know of some way our youth can be an asset, either East Fort Bend Human Needs or Fort Bend Family Promise, or if you hear of a need in our community, let me or Kay know, and we can get we can get our youth involved. But most importantly, pray. We do believe in the power of prayer. Pray for our youth. Pray for our group. Pray that it continues to grow. Pray that it continues to reach out to people. And just hold them in your prayer. We have, like I said, we have a great group of people. And also hold Kay in your prayers, as she gives a lot to these young people. And she also has a second job, and she's, as many of us do. And so she still makes a point to make time for these young people. So please do pray for her as well. Any questions for me about youth? I might be able to answer, or I might be able to tell Kay or ask Kay. Okay. I'm going to pivot on to children's. A lot of this, some of this I will cover in my, so I'll give a brief overview. Oh, yes.
For youth protection, is there something we can find on the website on how to for youth protection training?
Oh, for the safeguarding? So Safeguarding God's Children, it's available if you're interested and if you need it. If you're there is information on the diocese website, or where's Bernadette? Bernadette can send you information. That's the same for anybody. If you need to be safeguarded or need Safeguarding God's Children, which is the youth protection, or God's people, see Bernadette. She is our safeguarding coordinator here for St. Catherine's, and she works to get people safeguarded. So yes, you can see her after if that's something you're interested in. Gail. 5 years. So that's a good question. Safeguarding is good for 5 years. So if it's been over 5 years since you've taken safeguarding, you'll need to do it again. If it's been a year or two, you're covered. That being said, if you've been safeguarded in another, so Safeguarding God's Children is available to all the church, the entire Episcopal Church. However, our diocese requires something a little different, some extra work. So if you've been safeguarded in another diocese, you need to make sure that it's covered from Diocese of Texas, because you may have to do another extra thing. But if you're safeguarding the Diocese of Texas, you're good for 5 years. Thank you.
Can I just make a comment?
Yeah.
About the food? So, it's not only home cooked meals, because I don't really know how to cook for like 15
Yes, sorry.
people.
Yeah, sorry, yeah.
But if you would like to donate, you can also give cash, and they can buy food, or you can also buy like burgers, or just bring something else that you can just buy as well.
Yeah.
They are very appreciative.
Yes, thank you for that. And I'll add, just kind of for those listening online, I've mentioned home-cooked meals. A lot of people, like you said, don't or can't cook a meal for 13 people. So another great way is to donate money, or bring some fast food or burgers or even pizza, because they still like pizza, to bring food like that. That's perfectly fine. Thank you so much for adding that. I should have said that, and so thank you for adding that. Okay. Children's ministry, so some highlights, and again, I'm going to cover some of this later in mine, so I'll just talk about it. The Easter egg hunt, we had our glow-in-the-dark Easter egg hunt. This was our second year doing it. And we, again, are learning what works and what doesn't work. And so we will once again tweak a little bit, and I'll talk a little bit about that shortly. But this one was a little bit lower than last time, because we were up against, there's something else going on in the community now that I think about it, I can't remember. But there's another big event that's happening the exact same time. So it kind of took away from ours. So that wasn't as heavily attended as the first year, but it still had we had a good turnout. We also had our True North VBS. If you remember 2 years ago, we had our VBS that was hurricaned out. Beryl came through the week our VBS happened, so we couldn't have VBS, and that was a traumatic experience, especially for Megan. So we moved it up to the first week of June, which we learned. Maybe again, learning, tweaking, but we decided we're going to do it the first week of June. We're not going to have the hurricane mess us up. And again, it was a lower attended than last time. I think that first week right after school was out may have been a hard time. And we're also against the First Baptist. This year we worked where we are solo that week. So I'll talk a little bit about that later, but it did hit our numbers. We did not have as much kids as we normally do. I think we had about 50 or something. Is that about right? Yeah, I think it was about 50. But it's still, we had a great time. We had a blast. And I even showed up on my sabbatical, and I was out back with the kids. It was really fun. So I didn't have to, I was dad and volunteer instead of priest. It was really cool. And I want to thank all those who participated in VBS and made it happen.
The other church is not willing to share or coordinate with us, or is it just an oversight?
It was an oversight. It was one, yeah. It was, and now we are more in conversation with the churches, especially First Baptist, because this was their first one. They don't normally have a VBS, but now with their new space, they opened it up. So we didn't even think about, because we always talk to St. Angela, Harvest, and I think those are the two that normally have VBS. So we didn't think to ask First Baptist. Now we do, and now we know. So we try to work, and where that's not going to happen again. Thank you for that. Okay, trunk or treat. This was an awesome trunk or treat. This is our biggest yet. We had 24, I think, hold on, let me look, 24 trunks. Last year we had 20. So we have 4 more trunks. Yay. We also had anywhere between 300 to 400 people. We had at least 300 people who voted for favorite trunk, but not all voted. So we had we think between 300 and 400 people out there. Again, by far the most we've ever had. It was great. Since we first started this, I think 4 years ago, it went from maybe 8 trunks to 24. We went from maybe 100 people to 400 people. That is tremendous. That's a lot of impact we're having on the community just by opening up our trunk for an hour, our parking lot for an hour and a half, and offering up candy. So again, thank you all who had a trunk. Thank you all who donated candy. We couldn't have done it without you. And get ready, because next year we're going to do it even bigger. First communion, we did have a first communion class this year, and we had a number of kids receive their first communion or first intentional communion. We did have some who this was their first time receiving communion, and some who they've received communion, but this is where they kind of learned about it. We are planning another first communion class upcoming. We don't have a date for that. We're trying to wait till we get a couple more kids that will get of age, and then so it'll probably be later on in 2026, so fall maybe 2026. So we'll keep everyone up to date about that. Sunday school grew. This is tremendous. This is awesome. This is a great problem we're having. Okay, so you ready for a good problem? Good problem. We have too many kids for our Sunday school. That is awesome. We have a lot of kids that are young, and then a handful of kids who are 4th and 5th grade. So we're getting to the point where we're going to have to separate the kids. We don't like separating kids. That's not fun. But it's getting to where the subject material is not, some of the kids it's not good for, and some of them it's good, and vice versa. So we're going to split up the classes going forward this year. We're going to split the younger classes, who will be in one classroom, and then the older classes. And we'll have age-appropriate lessons for them. That's a great problem to have, and I want to give us a round of applause for that, for adding the kids. And if you notice on our drum procession at the end of church, it keeps there's more and more kids that's growing into that. So we're seeing it in Sunday school. We have a number of people who help out Megan. So Ashley, thank you for your help. Anna, thank you for your help. We do need more help. If we're breaking this up, we are going to need more people to help teach Sunday school. It is super easy. Megan has the lessons plans. All you have to do is read off the plan and go. And I think Ashley and Anna can attest to it's easy. So we will be making a call out for people to help Sunday school. If this is your calling and right now I can do that, please see me or see Megan next week if you'd like, but pray about it as well. Again, this is a great problem to have, but it is a problem that we need to address, because we're gotten to a point where we need 2 classes, but that means we need people. So please do consider helping our young people by participating in and helping lead them in Sunday school. As you know, Sunday school is between services, between the 8:30 and 10:30 service. Usually we start at 9:45?
No, like 9:30.
9:30?
So it's like 10:15.
Yeah, perfect. Okay. That's right, 9:30 to 10:15. So it's not a lot of commitment, and we're trying to get it where we'll have enough people where maybe once a month you can teach a class. And so please do see me if you're interested in that. We had a great Christmas family movie night. I want to say about 30 people, 30, 40 people, somewhere around there. We showed Christmas Chronicles, and I've never seen Christmas Chronicles. I really enjoyed it. It was a great time, and this is, once again, one of our outreach opportunities, well, not outreach, but ways we can reach out to the community and offer something to them where they can come in. This is open to everybody. We had a lot of kids from our school here at the movie night, and it was a great time. So thank you for that. Christmas Eve pageant. I'll share a little bit about Christmas Eve numbers, but I do want to say this was the most kids I have seen since I've been here for our Christmas Eve pageant. It was so much fun. I especially liked the was it the star who was up here dancing? I heard about that was awesome. We ran out of costumes. We ran out of parts, so we may have to buy more costumes. Again, a great problem to have, but it was awesome. We had a bunch of kids. I need to figure out how I can get down here during that time so I can see it, because I went up us at the altar. We can't see. But I got to go back and watch it on the live stream. So it was awesome. I left that service just full, my heart was full of joy watching those young kids take part in telling the story of Jesus. So that was awesome. So those were our events of 2025. I do want to share events that are coming up in 2026. And I'm going to talk a little bit more about Joyful Noise during my report. But that is something we're continuing through 2026. This year, we're going to do it a little differently. We're going to every other Thursday. Is it every other Thursday? Once again, led by Heather and Sarah. So thank you both for offering up your services for that. Yes, Izzy. If you don't know, Joyful Noise is our new ministry for children that's outside of Sunday school. This is their way, a way where we share with music. They learn VBS songs, they learn VBS dances, and it's a way they can grow as disciples through music and the gift of song. And they sang for us at the Christmas service, and they'll also sing at youth Sundays, as well as I think they're singing at the Do House. Yes, the Do House in December. So please do keep. Oh, hey, by the way, Sarah, y'all are gonna sing at Do House. That's in December, and if you don't know Do House, it's the historic home over in Kitty Hollow Park, and they do a big Christmas thing. And our children sang once, and that was a lot for Megan. But now that we have Joyful Noise, this is a great way we can now be prepared and have something that they know, and we could offer it up to them. So that will be in December. And again, thank you both for leading that. I'll talk a little bit about needs of that when I go to my rector's report. Sunday school, like I said, we have enough kids that we need to have 2 classes. So again, if you want to teach, please let me know. The Easter egg hunt, as I said, we're changing things up this year. This year is going to be very different than our normal. So our fall festival, the school usually hosts a fall festival in the fall. This year, that couldn't happen because of rain, so it turned into Spring Fling. We're joining up with the Spring Fling, the school. We will offer up our Easter egg hunt during the school's Spring Fling. So keep an eye out for more information about that. The VBS is June 29th through July 2nd this year. Those dates, it'll be Monday through Thursday because Friday is the weekend of 4th of July. So we decided let's not have Friday because we've figured a lot of people leave. So VBS will be then. Please do keep your eye out for volunteer opportunities. I think Megan's going to be here next week, and I think she's going to start making pleas for telling what positions we need to fill. Trunk or treat, again, we'll have that in October. Once again, we're looking forward to a bigger trunk or treat, and we're still going to do the Christmas family movie night as well as our Christmas Eve pageant. And as I said, we will probably have to get more costumes. That's all I have for children. Do you have any questions about children? Okay. Ian, I'm going to call you up to make your report.
Father, you're going to give anybody a break today? All right. Let's jump into it. All right, so I'm doing gala and I'm doing manna bag. So I'll talk about the gala first and then the manna bag second, in which I will introduce Phyllis up here because she's the one who introduced me to the manna bag ministry. So with the gala, I talked this morning ad nauseum and every week. But there's a few changes. The credit card, we're not going to do the credit card because it's too much problem, the 3% and all that kinds of stuff. So we'll just go to the QR code, cash, and that's it, right? And Zelle, yes. And check, of course. Sponsored.
Will there be credit card when we check out at the gala?
We're not going to use credit card because, say again? At the gala? Oh, for the wine? We probably might have to do something, Tom. Yeah, just for that only. Yeah, and the auction items, because that's kind of hard to monitor, because even at the auction items, I use my credit card for the wine, credit card for this, credit card. So Tom, we probably have to talk about that stipulation, okay? Sorry to put you on the spot, my friend Tom. You know, everybody does that to you. I humbly apologize, sir. Yeah, we'll talk about that, and we should definitely, we have to consider that, but not for the everyday collecting of the money. Sponsors. So, oh, 1 minute. So these here, my favorite grocery stores. I went to this Indian store, My Spice. So what I did, I bought big grocery, then I hand this to him, and then he just okay, and he gave me. I will go back and collect from him. So I know as Episcopalian, and I grew up as a kid Episcopalian. We try not to approach people for things. I don't know why we do that, but we do that. But there's a way, because it's here. You don't have to say anything. Everything is here, and everything is here. And by the way, they get tax break with this. So that's even nice. So we have the packet here, and it's Bernadette can hand them out. Yeah, you can pick some up. So it's a very easy process. And this here, the reason why I am dwelling on this so much, this is the extra money that we can get. There's a lot of people out there that would like to donate. Pet stores, donut shops, all these places, just hand it to them. They'll know, because they know us already. So it's not very difficult. It's not some organization that they don't know about. It's our church. So, and the volunteers, especially on the day in question, we're going to need volunteers at the site of the gala. And usually, Tom, we go about, midday, and just help out wines and stuff, put things together, and then you can come back and get ready for your gala. So I'm going to put noon. If you show up at 1 or 2 o'clock, that's okay. But I'm going to put noon, just some volunteers. You show up, bring the wine out, set up the tables, and so on. And Sir Craig, I know kind of a little bit on the handicap side, but I know you will be there too. And I know you put off your hip surgery. This man put off his hip surgery just for the gala. So remember that. All right, so that's for the gala so far. I think we are moving along very well, and I have a good team. Anybody has Heather on their team and Sarah, that's a good team, And all these people, I'll just pick them out because we have a great team. We have Tom. Tom is always kind of nudging me and checking me. Ian, don't do this, don't do that. All right, thank you so much for that. And then the manna bag. Believe it or not, the manna bag started here about 2018. And when it started, it was Phyllis that started it. And then she kind of, I don't know what she saw in me. She just called me and said, Ian, you should be here too. So I have been with Phyllis since then. And first, I had reservations. You're going to take something, food, and a little card and take to homeless people. And I know that we have this innate reservation when it comes to that. This I put the word a little different, but it's that reservation that it was born in us because we sometimes don't want to associate with certain things. It reminds you too much of negative stuff. So I fought with that, and I went out. And when I went out, I met people of all creed, color, everything, demographics. And I met people who were up there in society as well. And they are down there now. And so it encouraged me to do so. And every day I go to work, I have to pass through the medical center, and I purposely use a part of that journey to just hand something out. I'll give you one quick story before I leave and ask Phyllis to explain some more about the manna bag. I drove down to the medical center one morning. I was going to work up in the Heights where I work in psychiatry. And I saw this kid, it's probably about 16, 17, and I went up to him. I gave him, and I said, "You must be coming from afar," because he looked like he was journeying. He said he was from Mississippi, and he came, hitchhiked all the way. He was chased out of his home. And I gave him something, and I talked to him. And I passed there 2 weeks later, and he was in a job. He was the sous chef, just follow instruction and cook, and he was doing that. I passed by and never saw him again. So I said, he was in the job, so maybe he's now doing something successful. It wasn't me. It was just, I'm just a tool, a messenger. And I talked to him that day. So, when you start doing it, you will find out that it's enriching. It is something that you cannot explain. However, I'm going to ask Ms. Phyllis here to, since she is the original founder, and I am just part of the ministry. Thank you very much.
Good afternoon, everyone. I don't think I'm the founder, but what happened, the person, Alex, her family left. They moved to Manville. And so she came to me with this idea about the manna bags. And so I said, okay, that sounds real good, because in my lifetime, I have seen and talked with homeless people. I have been in their presence. I have experienced the negativity that they spoke of that occurred in their life to put them in that position. Some were very elite, high-end people whose businesses failed, and they found themselves without something they had never imagined. And so what helped me get started and to realize that there was a need for this was one day I dropped Steve off at work, and I was at Richmond and Kirby. And I saw this guy come across the street. I mean, he was, you know how you see a homeless person that's so homeless that it's obvious. Their clothes, their hair, the smell, all of it. And as individuals, we have a tendency to be standoffish. We don't want to even come near them because we think they're going to do something to us. That's the way the television and movies has hyped things up to a point to where you're scared to even approach people who are in need. That's bad, because it comes back to you threefold in blessings. And I've had that experience as well. This guy crossed the street. Oh, he was homeless on a level that I hadn't seen now, but I lived in an area in the Heights where you had people like that. And you either got along with them or you didn't. But my parents taught my sister and I how to be a part of the community, but not just in it like that. Be a part of it, serve it. And so I gave him some money. I stopped him, I called him over, I gave him some money. And to make a long story short, when I saw him again, he was dressed for work, his hair was cut. I didn't call him over to remind him who I was. I just took joy in what I was seeing. I took joy in what I had done. And I thank God for blessing me to be able to help him and uplift him like that. So when it came to the manna bags, it was Okay, we're gonna put everything that we have into this and ask in this congregation, and I want to say this, I want to thank all of you who have contributed so much to this ministry and has given so much that it has made it all worthwhile. So I'm going to ask you to continue to donate, and throughout the year, I'll have information in the narthex for the items that we need to have you to donate. We're going to stop some things because when you start thinking about the environment that they live in, there's some things that we need to stop providing to them because it can present a dangerous situation to many of them that's there when you're dealing with people with psychological issues as well. Okay. So like I said, I want to thank all of you who have contributed, ask you to continue to tribute to the Manna Bag ministry, which helps out a lot. And when we have the Manna Bags in the narthex for you to get a couple of bags, put it in the car. You don't have to drive around looking for anybody because, believe it or not, you're going to come across them. And when you're at a light, hand it. You will be surprised at how many will come, and all you have to do is one of these numbers. They'll come to the car and then just hand that Manna Bag out. That's it. You'll hear, God bless you, thank you, I really needed this from many of them. That's your blessing right there. That's your blessing right there. And you can take it and you can go with it and you be thankful that you are not in that situation because you could be. You could be. So anyway.
Thank you, folks. And that's another project our youth has helped fill those Manna Bags. So I want to thank you both and thank you, Phyllis, for doing that. And yeah, keep your eye open for those donations and ways you can support that ministry. Joe.
I'm supposed to also talk about newcomers. I really don't have anything to say about newcomers, except that whenever you see a new face around, it's not just my job and Jim's job, who's at 8 o'clock, 8:30. It's all of our jobs. Welcome people, make people feel like that they belong in this congregation and that you're happy that they're here with us to worship God. So I don't know anything. We aren't having a dinner.
Yeah, I'll talk a little bit about that, what we're hoping to.
Oh, we are?
Well, we
Okay.
don't have a schedule, but
Okay.
we want to
Because it's at my house, and I'm always interested to know when we're having it. And next Friday, yeah. Okay, so let me see. What was I doing then? Okay, yeah. So I guess but we do continue those, and they're really a good way to bring the new people into feeling at home in the congregation. The other thing that I'm here to talk about, which you all know I'm kind of like a dog with a bone about, but I believe, and I think most of us who know even the tiniest bit about it, believe that our criminal justice system is in abominable shape, where we make lots of mistakes. We're incarcerating more people than anyone else in the world, and we need to do some things to correct that. But here we are, not able to really legislate those things or do much about it. So what Father Andrew and I have begun to come up with is that we can start with the youth offenders. And if we can catch them before they get in the system, because too many people, once they're in the system, they just cannot get out. And it's not sometimes any fault of their own, but once your name is on that list, you're pretty well stuck, and you're number one targeted for that. So I have been our only mentor out at the Richmond Juvenile Detention Center, and I am on my second mentee. And there's a process to become one, and then you're put with a young person who you hopefully have some kind of a connection to, so that you can just be there for them. You know, most of these children, and they are children, my mentees have both been 14, young women 14, and they haven't had parental guidance. They maybe don't even, both of mine didn't really know their fathers. They have no relationship with their father. And they have a sometime mama and sometimes not in many cases. All you have to do is show up 1 hour a week. And just the fact that somebody cares enough to show up may be enough to change some minds. And my last conversation with my mentee, she was telling me that she would do anything to protect her sister. She would kill and do all these things to protect her sister. And I'm like, hey, Kimberly, let's think about that. If you kill someone and you go to prison full time, how are you going to join the Army? How are you going to go to college? How are you going to have babies? You can't do those things from prison. So think about whether that's a short-sighted goal to protect your sister, or whether you want to be able to protect your sister all the time. I don't know. I hope I'm making some difference. Now, is there anybody else who wants to join me in this? All right, I got 1, 2, okay, 3. And you're going to finish your thing so that you can go too. So, okay, I got 4. So that next time we have this meeting, there will be 4 of us to tell success stories on how we helped someone maybe get out of the system. And if any of you think about it and you pray about it and you decide it's something that you might be interested in, y'all know how to get in touch with me. So thank you.
Thank you. Thank you, Joe. Thank you. Myra. Oh, and thank you. Let's give Joe a round.
Okay, so Daughters of the King, we meet the first Sunday of every month, and we're actually meeting next Sunday because we're here today, but it's February 8th. We're studying the book of Jeremiah. We would love for all the women in the church to come visit and join us if you want. And we're very excited about a youth Valentine party we're giving the youth on Wednesday, February 11th. And we asked them what they wanted, and they said they wanted an old-fashioned homeroom type Valentine's party that they miss. So we went to Arnie's, we bought all these decorations, we've got presents for them, we're decorating the tables, we're going all out with all the food they wanted and a big Valentine's party. So we're super excited about that. And then we do a big project in July for the backpacks for Fort Bend Family Promise, which many of you have helped us with, so thank you for all of that. And we'll be doing that again with the Brotherhood. We do 40 backpacks, we fill them with supplies, and they're brand new Nike backpacks that we buy on the 4th of July at the outlet mall so we can afford them. And the kids just love them. So Fort Bend Family Promise really is counting on us every year now to do that. And then the other project that we work on all year is what we call the Doll Project. And we give, this year we're giving 40 dolls to the Rainbow Room, which works with foster children and their moms. And they're 40 brand new dolls in a case with 3 outfits. And we work all year sewing and making things for the dolls. And as part of that, we do 2 doll teas a year at my house. And that's where we do the old-fashioned tea, and we all bring, tea stuff, and then we work on the dolls during that, and then we give them at the end of the year. So we'd love for all of the women to come visit us, come join us, just be part of us. So thank you.
Thank you, Myra. All right, we're winding down, so sorry about that. We're going to keep moving. Junior Warden Report, Aaron Allshouse, to bring some fun. As fun as talking about an AC unit can be.
I'm going to try and do something a little different this time than I did last time. And I'm going to try and give you some good news to start with. So a couple of the big expense items that we have on a monthly basis are the website and our internet and phone bill. Combined, they were just shy of about $1,200 a month. Yeah. So we're going to pivot a little bit. We're gonna go with Easy Fiber. We're gonna get fiber optics or fiber internet here, 1 gig up, 1 gig down for just a bit over $200 a month. So that's saving about $400 just on internet and phone alone. We're also gonna pivot to contract work for the website. That's to be seen how much of a savings, but it'll be significantly less than what we're paying monthly for the current website. So that's the good news. See, I promised I'd tell you something a little bit different than last time. Now, with any building comes maintenance. Last time I was up here, you heard me talk about the roof. I'm going to reiterate that just a little bit. For anyone that hasn't noticed, we had a couple spots where we had some leaking in here. We got somebody up on the roof, and long story short, the roof didn't need to be fully replaced. We had a few spots that need to be taken care of, and we noticed that the screws were working their way out on the roof. Roof's 20 years old, happens. So we have someone contracted. They're going to be coming out here hopefully in the next week to 2 weeks to take care of that. So that'll be over and done with. The next item on the agenda is AC unit. You heard me talking about it last time. We're in the process of getting quotes on the AC unit. We are going to see if we can Band-Aid that for 1 more year, because that is a fairly large expense. But if it is an expensive Band-Aid, it's one of those things we're just going to have to bite the bullet, and that's going to be a pretty sizable chunk of change. And then the 2 other items that we've heard from basically everybody that's sitting in here is we need to get the door fixed, the front door. That's going to be another expense that's not going to be on the list that Tom's going to tell you all the good news on that one here shortly. But we need to spend some money on the front door. The lock, whether it's opening or closing and it sometimes having a mind of its own, we just need to get that taken care of. And then the other item that we've had a lot of requests for is a handicap ramp right up in the front. We want to spend a little money and get that taken care of. Again, those are things that are not currently in the budget. So those are items that I am imploring you, if you have the available funds, I encourage you to donate those so that we can get those taken care of. And then last but not least, from a monetary standpoint, I am asking for a volunteer to come out once a month to once every couple of weeks to mow the yard. If you are interested, we do have a very nice Toro zero turn that is available for you to use. So if you have any dreams of, riding it, or pretending you were a race car driver with a zero turn, it's a great opportunity to do so. Oh yeah. I know. If you don't want somebody yelling at you for doing a donut in a parking lot, do it on the zero turn. But yeah, once a month, once every couple of weeks, I'm asking for a volunteer to come out and help cut that back grass out there. So if you find yourself with the time, I would love for you to shoot me a message, and the zero turn's yours. Come out and use. What's that? Is that a 3-hour job? Yeah, right about. It's a good size zero turn. It'll cover a lot of ground, but yeah, it's somewhere in the 2 to 3 hour range.
Yeah, you probably do want to do it 3, because if you go too fast, you could hit those.
Okay, so my suggestion to that is, like we talked about before, is to put a list out and have that list of people so you can call them.
Yeah.
For example, with me, I could donate my lawn guy and say, just come back here and just pay him or whatever, or do it myself. So whoever is on that team is going to help in the way that they can. So my suggestion again is to put it out there and people can form your team. For example, I love gardening, so I can come around and just do something back there. But if you gotta have a team so that you can say, hey. So that's just my suggestion.
I appreciate it. All right. Like I said, I was going to keep it short and sweet. That's all I got. So.
Any questions? Anything that you may have noticed that needs Aaron's attention? Okay. Thank you, Aaron. Aaron's always there. If you have anything, let me or Aaron know. Okay, Tom, let's give him some. Let's get really fun here.
Oh, yeah, you bet. All right, first of all, we're going to take up another collection. No, that's not actually true. Good afternoon, ladies and gentlemen. Everybody hear me okay? Well, here I am again. Jim's traveling, so I'm not as familiar with the financials as I once was, but I have assisted Jim most of this year. He was traveling last year when the parish meeting took place, and when he got back, he was told, "Congratulations, you're the treasurer." So he was willing to be the treasurer, but and the changeover didn't go quite as well as it should have, I think. So it's been a learning experience for Jim getting connected into all of the systems that we have. But he's doing well at it, and it'll get easier this coming year. We're continuing to streamline things, and so I'm hoping that'll go well. The actual financials, you have the actual versus budget. A couple of things Jim wanted me to bring up. Our cash position this year is virtually the same as it was last year. Now, we didn't do as well on our budget, or on our pledges, as we were hoping to. And I'd kind of like to make a couple of remarks about that. When you pledge to the church, it's a method of you saying how much money you think you can give us to do operations. And we count on that because we budget for it. That's what the budgeting process is all about, okay? Things happen, and sometimes people don't meet their pledge, and that's okay. The church is not going to come out and take your house away from you because you didn't meet your pledge, okay? We don't work that way. But we'll be glad to try and help if something happens in your life that causes you to miss being able to make your financial obligation. We're here for you. We'll,
And can I add something to that real
absolutely.
quick? And just to piggyback, and that's also important stuff for even me to know as your pastor. If you're facing something, I would like to know how I can support you and pray for you, because there are ways we can support. So please do, yeah. If the life changes and you can't make your pledge or something happens, I'm not going to be upset. I want to know, because I genuinely care for you and love you and want to be sure we're giving you the best care we can. So I just want to add that too, to piggyback on what you said.
So, okay, we're a little short on the pledge part of it, but this church, when we've asked for money, has always come forth and met the request. And so we raised about $20,000 in miscellaneous revenue, which is for the roof. We got enough money to cover that. We have enough money to cover the door repairs. And we've got some extra money, unfortunately, that's going to be used on the air conditioning unit eventually. So we're not in the best of shape. This is going to be the third year in a row that we've got a negative budget, and we all apologize to you for that, but we can't manufacture money other than to ask for it and to get it in the pledges, okay? And the problem with that is if we're short, okay, we got a negative budget, we don't have a real good way to be able to handle that by, what are we going to do? We'll just fire the minister. How about that? It's his fault anyway, right? No, we're not going to do that. But the way that you have to do it then is you got to cut services. Well, we can't afford to do that in this church. We're trying to expand our services. And so I think that this year we're going to actually start sending out quarterly statements. Jim is kind of against that because he thinks it's negative. But it's not a dunning notice, it's a reminder, okay? And personally, I think of it, if you're up to date on your pledge, it's kind of a pat on the back. Hey, thank y'all, okay? You're doing really well. So we're all in this together. It'll work out okay. God finds a way. Everybody pray about it, and we'll be okay. all right? So, once again, we're behind on the budget, $65,000. It probably won't turn out to be that bad. It usually doesn't. But eventually, we got to get it turned around. If there's not any real questions about it, the budget's pretty well self-explanatory. Expenses are there. If you've got any questions about any of the expenses, I'll try to answer them.
I'd like to make a comment.
Okay.
You?
Anyway, I always have my minimum required distribution from my IRAs sent directly to the church. And for all of you who have minimum required distributions and you're not thinking of this is a marvelous way. It goes directly to the church. I still get my income tax donation. If I want to give more, I write a check in February because the distribution always comes in January. The church has the money early. They get it in January. I write a check for the remainder of what I've pledged for in February, and the church has the money. So this is something that it's a nice way for you to kind of work through that minimum required distribution. So if any of you have that as something in your lives, you might want to think about talking to your financial institution or your accountant about how that could really work, and it's a really easy way to get some more money into the church.
Thank you, Joe. Anybody got any questions? Uh-oh, now I'm in trouble. The crump loan is currently at $125,000, which means we have 5 years. When we took out the crump loan, I think in 2010, for 20 years, so we've paid 15 years on it. We pay $25,000 a year plus interest on that.
Very low.
Well, it's a 2% simple interest, fixed rate. We can't afford to pay it off because it's so cheap. But anyway, we have another 5 years with the crump loan, and then we'll be free and clear of that $25,000 a year. Okay? What else?
Thank you, Tom, for filling in for Jim and getting back to your old stomping grounds. Okay, I will keep mine short. We are running out. I want to thank all y'all for sticking around and for those who presented and all the work you are doing. And we didn't hear from all the ministries by a long shot. Oh, yes.
For those of you who would like to have your tax statement, donor contribution, they are available. Please send an email to treasurer@siennachurch.org with your name and your email address, and I will send it to you. I have those available, but we're not going to print them out because it just takes too much. I'm glad to send them to you by email.
Thank you. Yep.
Since we're kind of naming people here, Miss Reese was the first one to request it.
Yeah, so if those who are watching, if you need your end-of-year financial report or statement for tax purposes, send an email to treasurer@siennachurch.org, or you can let the office know, we can get that to you. Okay, so I'll keep mine short. Like I said, this was just a fraction of the ministries we have available here at St. Catherine's and the things we do. We do so much more than what you heard today. So I just wanted to name that. I want to thank those of you who got up to present from your ministry, but there are a lot more ways we can get involved here at St. Catherine's. So I always talk about challenges, accomplishments, and then vision. I'm going to briefly talk challenges because a lot of what I wanted to say is already in here. First off, as Tom said, even though we are growing, our numbers are up again from last year, our financial giving is still below expenditure. Some fixes that we're trying is we're starting to put our monthly financial status on in the bulletins. We need to be transparent. This isn't a way to say, hey, what are y'all? Come on, this is a way to be transparent so you can know, because this is your church too. This is your community. This is all of ours. And so this is our way to be transparent and honest about where we are, instead of when we get to that position at the end of the year, like, hey, can you give a little bit more? So we will keep doing that. It'll be in our weekly newsletter, as well as the bulletin, and it will cover the last months, as well as we're looking at ways that we can a friendly reminder, or just so you can know. And we're not just sending it to those who maybe are behind. We're sending it to everyone, so you can just know for your own purposes on where you are on their pledge. Again, this isn't a got you. This is not a bill. This is not going to be a, where's your money? I'm going to come see you. This is just a friendly reminder. I need friendly reminders. A lot of you know that. I need reminders. So this is what that is. As Aaron said, we do have a number of building repair needs. This past year, we had a bunch, and then we have more this upcoming year. I'm not going to talk much about that. I do want to say and name this. We have had a rough fall. We had a really rough fall. 5 of our parishioners have passed away, and most of those were beloved people in this parish who's given a lot. And so with that, we added that healing service, and we're going to add more healing services to do that. I'll talk a little bit about that in my vision. But I do want to talk about accomplishments, because we have had a lot of accomplishments this year. First off, we still are growing, both in ASA and membership. We have added new people to our parish even in this past year. Some of which came during sabbatical. So what does that tell you? Oh, we like this late, and then I show up, but they're still here. But no, we had a lot of people. And so that was really cool that we did add, though. I do want to say, when the priest is away, that's what my concern was, is being away, and people there's people but people still showed up and still wanted to come. There's, I think, 3 families who showed up, started coming during the summer, and are still here, 3 couples. And that's a testament to y'all, and y'all's warmth, and y'all's welcoming. So I want to commend y'all for, first of all, holding down the fort while I was away for sabbatical, as well as continuing to welcome people and making them want to continue coming here. But we have added new people. It's not at the same pace as last year, though. Last year we had we had a lot of people show up pretty much at once, but it's still growth. And my friends, growth is growth. And where the church is, any type of growth is something to celebrate. Our average Sunday attendance jumped up by 6% over 2024. Before I went on sabbatical, we were looking really good. I think we're sitting at 20-something%. And then I went on sabbatical, and the year progressed. Summer kind of text. But it's still great. So we went from an ASA of 115 last year to an ASA of 122 this year. Now, we're not back to pre-pandemic levels. Yeah, most churches aren't. That's still a struggle for church-wide. Some have not even, are still trying to get back to respectable levels, but we are getting there. That's my plan. Our goal is we want to be back where we were pre-pandemic, and we're slowly but surely getting there. I do want to say, though, however, since the pandemic, from 2021, and now you got to keep in mind, these are pandemic numbers. But since 2021, when we opened up worship fully to full status and not limiting numbers, we have grown 70%. That's in 5 years, our ASA has grown 70%. So that is something that I think we should celebrate. That's huge. That is huge. And I will send a graph. I made a graph, and I decided to keep it short. So I have a graph over 4 years that shows the trajectory. So we are getting there. I believe with God, we will get there as long as we keep doing what we're doing and keep welcoming people and bringing them here. So I think that's something to celebrate. We talked about Gala. We talked about Trunk or Treat. Sunday school, we talked about. Okay, Joyful Noise. We did start that new Joyful Noise, but we do need help with that. Once again, we are trying. This is dinner time for these kiddos and our teachers, and we have been ordering pizza for them. And again, that adds up. And as we hear, we're trying to cut back on some expenditures. We do recognize Joyful Noise is a very important piece of our church life. It is giving opportunity for our kids. It's bringing kids to us. So just like the youth, we're looking for people who can help provide meals for us every once in a while. Now we will continue to buy meals if we don't have something. But if you would like to help, please see me, or you can talk to Sarah. But see me or Sarah or Megan or Heather. And if you'd like to provide a meal, I think it's normally 10 to 15 kids, and these are young kids, so it's not youth. They're not going to eat nearly as much. But eat something as simple as spaghetti, or even grilling up some burgers or hot dogs, chicken nuggets, mac and cheese, fruit bowls, good stuff kids like. And those are easy. So if you can help out, please see me, and because we're going to try to create a list for that. Also, I'm sure they can always use help, having a second adult or some adult presence here. And so if you'd like to help, you could talk to Sarah or myself as well. But I'm very excited about Joyful Noise. It's going great, and I think we're now putting it out where we were trying to reach out to more people because we're feeling comfortable where we are, to let's start going out to the community. We were focusing on school and church, and now we're really pushing out to the community. Okay, Bishop Ryan visited in September. This was a different visit because this was on a Saturday, and yet we still had about 50 people here for that service, which I thought it was just going to be the families who were being confirmed. We had 4 people being confirmed, and so it was a great time. We had 2 youth, 2 adults. Great visit, and we always enjoy it when Bishop Ryan. As you know, Bishop Ryan is our area bishop, and so she normally is the one that comes. Costa Rica mission trip happened again this year. Every other year we go and send a group of people down to Costa Rica. This year we had 7 people on that trip, and I was very sad to be on sabbatical this year because I missed the Costa Rica trip, and I love going to Costa Rica. I've only been once, and I've already made lifelong friends, I think, there. And we still keep in contact with Facebook. We send emails, and they're great folks. So we had 7 people down there. Once again, we led VBS for about 200 children. We had Janie and Liz, who are Miss Janie, and then Liz is a teacher. They went down and they were able to speak Spanish, since most of us who went don't speak Spanish. So they do that for us. Although I love this story. When I was there, I told a little girl, I don't speak Spanish. She said, "Oh, I teach you." It's like, okay. And she said, "Hola." And I said, "Hola." She said, "That means hello." So it's odd. These kids are awesome. They was like, she got so much pride by doing that. So it was so much fun. It's so much fun. So 200 children, though, that's a lot of kids, and they are able to do that VBS. Also repainted a sacristy at one of the school's chapel, and then led an acolyte training for about 25 people, mostly children and youth, but a few adults as well. And that was something we started at last trip, where we started offering up our acolyte. And now their acolyte manual down in Costa Rica is the exact same as ours. We brought it down, and they use our acolyte manual, which is really cool. We will go back to Costa Rica not this summer, but the next summer, and we'll start putting that out there. Please do consider going if you would like to. It's a great time. It's worth it, and it's a great way to build connections and relationships with our sister diocese. Costa Rica is a sister diocese of Diocese of Texas, and our sister church, our church that we pray for, is down there. And so please do consider joining if you can. As always, I want to share some of the big services and the numbers we had. So we'll start with Holy Week. This was a really great Holy Week. We had 287 people over all the Holy Week services. So that's Stations of the Cross, Maundy Thursday, Good Friday, and then and Palm Sunday. So that's a great number for the week, and that's up from 244 the year prior. Easter, we had 230 at both services. Again, that was an increase over, which was 222 over last year. Christmas was awesome. We had 223 at the 3 Christmas services. That's an increase over the 3 services last year, which was 210. And as I said, the children's chapel or the children's service was the highest number of kids that I've had since I've been here. So we're going in the right direction there. We're reaching out to young families. We're reaching out to kids, and we're starting to see the benefits of that. And that's because why we do Joyful Noise. That's why we offer these Sunday schools. That's why we do VBS, so we can reach out and be a place of growth for these kids. Again, we had over 136 at the 10:30, 70 at the later service, and 17 on Christmas morning. One thing we didn't do was the handbells, and I think we already heard from people saying we want to do that. So next year we're going to offer a separate service with handbells, and we'll talk more about that as we get closer. But we are going to go back to a musical service for Advent, so we're very excited about that for next year. So for this year, I want us to start thinking about something. This is our 27th year of ministry at St. Catherine's Episcopal Church. Not in this church building, but when we started, we're at the rectory where we live. 27 years. We're fastly approaching 30 years. That's a big number. I want us to start visioning, and I'm going to work with the vestry. Where do we want to be? What kind of church do we want to be at 30? How do we want to celebrate that and start planning now so we can get there? 30 is going to come up quick, and I want that to be a big celebration. I would love to have a big celebration for our 30th anniversary. And what is that going to look like? Perhaps building expansion. How many of you would love a parish hall? Yes. Before I got here, that was on the plan. That was the plan. We got to move beyond we can't do it. I hear that, and with God, first of all, with God, all things are possible. We all heard that. But I've seen small churches way smaller than us do great things with the smaller budgets than us, raise money to build onto their building. We need it. We are at the point where we need to look at adding more space for children, adding more space for youth, adding more space for our adults, because we still are doing our Tuesday Bible study, but also I'm offering up a Wednesday evening study. We can use more space, but with that, we're going to start looking at a capital campaign to start looking at what's the building expansion going to look like. It is time. Yes.
Just a question, I don't know the answer. What does the diocese think about corporate sponsorship for something like that?
I don't think they would be for that. Yeah, I don't. They're not big on bringing outside profits agencies to, but that's a good. But that doesn't mean we can't partner with nonprofit. We have a school here that is very big, and that they also need more space because they're always, and there's a lot of families who would love to. And so I want to think beyond. You're right. You're on to something. We got to think beyond just the people who are here on Sunday mornings. There's Girl Scouts who use our place. There's our community. This church is becoming a place for our community and for people who don't set foot here on Sunday but come and use our building, who can use that space.
Can we utilize 501c3 type of money?
We can look into it. Yeah, we can look at.
That's the answer. Then, if the 501c3 can be used, then that's a way of.
Yeah, absolutely. Skip. So that's another thing we'll have to look at what we actually need, because we have plans, and for some of you who weren't here, before I got here, before my predecessor, Father Mike, left, there's a plans to expand the church, basically ripping out the offices and turning that into a parish hall, taking out the youth room, expanding the kitchen, and then building on a new wing with offices, 4 new classrooms, 3 for the church, 1 for the school, as well as more parking spaces, which today we needed more. We could have used those. So we need to look. Is this what we want to do? And so I think that's some of the work that we as the vestry and the parish are going to start looking at. Or what is that what we want? Or is it, do we need to go back to the drawing board? I kind of think that was a great plan. I'm glad we didn't go through with it, because with COVID and everything, we would have been in a world of hurt. But now I think we're at the point in our lives, our daily lives, where we really need to start looking at more space. So you're going to hear more about that. I'm not saying we're going to start a capital campaign next week. That's not going to happen. I want to rest assured that is not going to happen. But planning and preparation is going to start this year of when can that happen. And so I want to share that with you and talk about that.
That's part of the 30-year planning committee group activities that you're talking about?
Oh, for the 30?
Design of the building, part of the 30 years.
No, I just kind of threw that out there because that's one thing I'd like to see us be in 30 years and more space. Yeah, so I think we will probably look at a 30-year, so we can have a celebration and look at what we can do. So yes, that's a good point. I do want to say, again, each year we've seen our ASA and our attendance and our numbers have grown. Before my sabbatical, we were on pace to grow our ASA over 20% again, but that ASA kind of plateaued and we went down. So we were looking at an ASA of 135 before I went on sabbatical. So, but that happens. Summer, people travel. I was away. I'm partly to blame because we carry about six people we missed out on 6 people being here every Sunday, or almost every Sunday. They weren't here today. But we still grew. But we can grow. We still have room. And this takes us. Okay. I know a couple of years ago, I asked, let's start inviting people to church. And that's I haven't really mentioned that. I want to ask again. This year, let's focus on finding ways to invite people to church. We all have friends. We all have family. We all have people who may not go to church. Now, we're not going to go down to First Baptist and Methodist or Catholic, St. Angela with signs that say, come to the Episcopal Church. Well, you're not going to do that. But when somebody asks, we see on Facebook, hey, I know or I'm looking for a church. Say St. Catherine's. Invite maybe one person a week to church. Invite. That's the best way the number one way people say they come to church is I was invited by a friend, our family, our neighbor. So I want to really focus this year on inviting people to our midst, inviting them back over the levee. We did great a couple of years ago, and then I kind of stopped talking about it, but let's talk about it again. Let's get out there and evangelize. Let's tell the good news. Not only the good news of Jesus Christ, but the good news that has happened here over the levee at St. Catherine's. As we heard, there's a lot of good stuff happening, and we have a lot of room to grow. Again, I want to look at holding more newcomer welcome dinners. So we as we get more people, we want to do this every quarter. But we just haven't been able to do that. So that is a challenge, and I want to fix that this year. So we at the vestry are going to look at, even if it's 1 or 2 people, that may be enough. So we will look at doing more newcomer dinners again. Men's group. I would like to get our men's group really back active again. And Skip and I have been talking about this, and Tom and I talked about this. Since COVID, the men's group kind of has fallen off, and it's time to come back. It's time to do stuff as men. And this is beyond Brotherhood of St. Andrew. Brotherhood of St. Andrew is a whole different group. It was never meant to take over men's group, okay? That's not the ideal. Just like Daughters of the King and the women ACW, those are 2 separate groups, but they're both viable and they do great things. Our men's group is a great way for men to gather together, to be together, to fellowship together, to work around the church together. And so with that, Skip has been leading, and we've been looking, we are open to people to help lead this group, to help plan, to help facilitate. If you're called to maybe take on a leadership role in the men's group, please talk to me. Or if you think of someone who can, talk to me. Because this year, I want to get the men's group back up and going, just like Girls' Night Out. Girls' Night Out is one of our most well-attended events out that and Empty Nester. So let's get back. Men, let's get back together. Let's do stuff again. So that's one other thing. Finally, once again, every year we have to I appoint a new senior warden. The senior warden is appointed by the rector, the junior warden, and secretary and treasurer are voted by the vestry. And I do want to, real quick, before I share who the new senior warden is, I do want to give a special call out to Terry. Terry has been, let's give her a round of applause. Terry has been our secretary for vestry for, gosh, how long? It's been a long time. So she's going to give us one more year. But she needs to step down and do other stuff. As you know, she's our Girls' Night Out guru. She's our verger. She does a lot of stuff. Let's give her a break. So I appreciate you so much. But with that, we're going to need someone to take over as secretary. You don't have to serve for 10 years. It could just be 1 year and we could rotate. And we move vestry to right after church on Sunday, so no more Monday night vestry meetings, and it works a lot better. Attendance has been awesome. If this is something, all you do is take notes of the record or take notes of the meeting. If that's something you can do, please see me. And what I'd like to do is maybe have someone spend some time with Terry this year or for a few meetings, just kind of see what she does. And that way we can let Terry take a break from that because she is given a lot. So if that's something that you're called to do, please do talk to me. And finally, I will share our new senior warden. And again, I want to thank Steve for giving us 2 awesome years. Thank you so much, Steve, for all you did. And thank you again for today for coordinating the blood drive. Sorry, kind of all the hiccups we had, but hey, it worked. I first want to say thank you all for electing Tom as vestry, because if that didn't work, I would have had to go back to the drawing board. Tom is our new senior warden going forward this year. Tom, thank you. Thank you so much for agreeing to serve.
There's a new sheriff.
We all got to be on our best behavior. He has his badge too. So I want to thank you all for that, and thank you, Tom. And thank you all for what you do. Thank you for this church. Thank you for being here. Oh, wait. No.
Phyllis has agreed to donate a table to the gala. So for those, and it's like scholarship for those who don't have the means, they can,
We'll put that out in the newsletter. Perfect, yeah. Y'all do, this church is awesome. I mean, you all step up. When there's a need, you step up. When people walk into this door, you greet them. The reason people come is because, and I hear it from everybody, is because the people here make me feel like I'm home. And that's y'all. And we're going to keep that up. We're going to keep doing that. I thank God every day that I was led here. I love being with you all. I love doing ministry with you. I love being your priest. This is an amazing place, and I am so excited for this year. I'm excited for the next 3 years. I'm excited for however many years we have to minister together. We're going to continue to grow. We're going to continue to reach out to people. We're going to continue to find ways we can be a resource for our community. Beyond just that church that has the bell beyond the levee, we're going to be known as that church that has the trunk or treat, the VBS church, the social justice church, the church that has the Wednesday night offerings, the youth groups, all that. We're going to be known as the church that the women go to restaurants at once a month, not just the church over the levee. That's a good calling card, but we have a lot more to offer, and I think we have been doing a good job of sharing that story. But keep it up. Keep up the good work. Y'all are awesome. And I love each and every one of you here and those watching on TV, those who aren't here. This is an amazing place, and let's bring more people in to enjoy this place with us. Go God and go St. Catherine. Thank you all so much for your time. Let's close in prayer. The Lord be with you. Let us pray. Gracious Father, we pray for your holy Catholic Church. Fill it with all truth, and all truth with all peace. Where it is corrupt, purify it. Where it is in error, direct it. Where in anything it is amiss, reform it. Where it is right, strengthen it. Where it is in want, provide for it. Where it is divided, reunite it. For the sake of Jesus Christ, your Son, our Savior. Amen. Y'all have a great rest of your afternoon. Thank you so much for staying around and for the parish meeting. This is adjourned.